Well, I'm moving on. I got that little compressor kind of mocked up. I still have to hook the air up. Running counterclockwise. I don't really have any oil in this compressor, but this was kind of part of what I got. It's made in USA. 8-inch 8-inch jaw, no, 6-inch jaw, made in USA. It's a, don't know what kind of vise it is, but it's a big, heavy one. I imagine it's pretty old. It don't look terribly chewed up. The jaws are in pretty good shape. I got some kind of a grind there. The anvil's pretty decent. Looks like somebody's pounded on it a little. But basically this vise is in real good shape, and I don't know what they cost. You know, at least $100, $200. Good vices are even more, and this is plenty big for what I want. Kind of match my drill press there, so I'm just going to clean it up, get all the grease off of it, wire brush it, take that fluorescent paint off there, and see what kind of a vise I really got. And then I'm going to clean it up and paint it. I don't know what color, probably how much paint I got, probably black paint. Too fancy with it. I just used some paint thinner and washed all the grease off of it, and then sprayed it with carburetor cleaner, wiped it down. I took a flapper disc to some of the rough spot there on top and on the anvil. I just got it cleaned up a little. I've got some red primer. I'm just going to cover it with primer for right now and see what kind of paint I got. I make it super good or anything, but I did put a nice coat of primer on it, and got a fan on it. We'll let that dry pretty good. It's a Rust-Oleum or something like that paint. I think I've got Ford Blue. I got a good can of that. I might have something else. You know, I'll look around and see what kind of color I want. Well, there's a couple coats of Ford Blue. Looks pretty decent. It's a ceramic engine enamel, so it should be pretty tough. That looks a lot better than that fluorescent lime. I think I'll paint the handles and paint that stuff black, and make it look a little better, but at least it's all one color now, and it looks pretty glossy, so good enough for an old vise, especially an old free vise. Well, not really free, because I've been working on that air compressor all day, but I don't know, that's worth, I don't know, $200 or $300 at least. A vise is probably at least $200. That's a big, heavy one. So I probably made $300 or $400 to just in parts here. I'm not crying about the deal I got. A new piece, and it's not beat up or anything. It's got a couple little tweaks in it. Nothing really bad at all. It's not rusty, so I can put that on there, and that'll help fix that. It's supposed to be a guy coming to look at it today. I don't know if he'll ever make it or not, but If he does, fine. If he don't, that's okay too. I like this old truck. The wife likes it. I may just keep it. Just continue doing body work and this and that on it. Just improving it. It's not going to make it worth any less. So, yeah, I'm moving forward here on the f100. I got a kit for that carburetor. It don't run very good in the morning. Yeah, kind of missing and stuff. So, I'm going to pull that carburetor off there and put a kit in it and see what happens. Here's Mr. 2-barrel carburetor. It's still got some gas in it, and I got a carburetor kit here. I did soak this at one point in time in carburetor cleaner. I didn't really clean it up all that well, but I'll probably do it again. And I've got some super clean product there. It's supposed to remove grease and stuff. Might be a good time to try it on this carburetor before I take it apart. I'll do that. I'll just make a little demo of super clean. They're supposed to be removes grease super easy, super fast, and we'll see. It's definitely just a greasy carburetor. I'm spraying it down with this stuff. And the instructions say rinse thoroughly and dry as needed. So looks like it's melting the grease off of this old carburetor body pretty good. Now this was in the bath of carburetor cleaner at one point. But I didn't really, looks like it's really cleaning up the outside good. This is allowing time to dissolve grease and grime. I don't know how much time you're supposed to allow, but it looks like it's taking it off pretty good already. And definitely a greasy carburetor. So I'll just hose this off now and then blow it off of there and see what we got. Actually, did a really good job. I just took it out there to sink and cold water and a brush, and it took just about all the grease off of it. I didn't really scrub too well on it or anything. And one thing I noticed is that it took the grease right off of my hands. You can see there my fingers, the end of my fingers, made them really clean. A lot of this is oxidized aluminum, been baked on, but it definitely did a really good job of taking off the grease. So I'll just finish taking this carburetor apart and we'll put in this kit here and see what we got. Carburetor apart, and this is probably foamy. We'll see what this this does. I got quite a bit of grease on the inside of the, not just an aerosol. Yeah, it's foamy. So I'm spraying Mr. Foam on it. You can see some of the corners I didn't get the first time. I think a good test of this stuff would be on a greasy motor. So I just foamed the carburetor up there. Hopefully this will get the rest of this grease off. I'll let it set about 5 minutes and wash it with some water. Looks like the foam sticks pretty good compared to the squirt bottle. It's supposed to clean motors and stuff, so I've got a pretty greasy motor I can try it on. But for now, since I'm working on a carburetor, we'll just see if it gets some of this burn on grease stuff out of the carburetor barrels. Clean this old greasy carburetor up real nice. Even got the black dirt down in the ports. I just hit it with a harsh brush. I didn't really spend any time on it, but cleaned the carburetor up real good. Yeah, I don't know how well this camera's showing it, but this is just a little bit of wiping. It's taking it out really well. The carburetor looks real nice on the body. It pretty much got everything off. It just took a few seconds. This stuff down in here is not really grease. That's a sort of oxidized aluminum or something. But I can just see with my fingernail it it's actually even loosened up that stuff there on the bottom. Yeah, a little bit of scraping there, and it even took all that stuff off. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, I gave the wheel cleaner an A, and this degreasing stuff an A too. I sprayed some more on the top of the carburetor there. I'll let it set a little longer while I'm trying to put this thing back together, and I'll clean it and we'll see what the top looks like. And this was their spray foam stuff. Sticks on pretty good, and you can see where it hit the paper there. It's taking paint or whatever they put that stuff on there. It's taking that off of the box too. So I got it all over my hands. About all it did was clean it. I can feel it a little bit. I don't know whether it's gonna react with my hands or not, but it don't feel like it's bad. So as far as I'm concerned, it works really good. Other degreasers I've used, they seem to work okay, but they leave a greasy feeling after you're done. And this stuff seems to be taking it off pretty good and not leaving any residue. Stuck the power valve on. It's got a couple little plate things. According to the old washer that was on it, goes towards the body. I don't know if it makes any difference or not, but that's the way it came off, so that's the way I put it back on. And now I'll move on to this accelerator pump here. It's got a little red rubber doohickey here. This lets the gas go through one way. It goes here in the middle, and when it pumps, keeps it from going back into the bowl. So I'll put that on and the gaskets, and I'll have the accelerator pump finished. And then the accelerator pump itself goes in it. You can put it in two ways, but you want it pointed up. And there's a spring that goes in there, and these are just 1/4-inch bolts. It's a little bit of a trick. You put them on there, hold it down, and put the 1/4-inch bolts in it. So the accelerator pump's good. And this little rubber thing in there, I just put a drop of 3-in-1 oil on it and pull it until it snaps through. And I wouldn't try it without some kind of lubricant on it, because you might tear that little thing off. And next I will put my float in here, and I think it's got a new valve. I'm not sure what I got here. It might have a new needle valve. Yeah, there it is. So this has a new needle valve and a seat. Turns out this is a really good kit. I don't remember, I've got the thing later, but so far all the gaskets fit good. It's got the right parts, the right gaskets. And sometimes you get these kits and half the stuff's missing, or it's the wrong size or something. But this is a good little kit. I'll go ahead and put that valve in there and move on. Valve, got to take it out with a big screwdriver. And the new one, it's got a 3/8 drive socket on it, and these things usually, well, sometimes they're really hard to get out. This one come out pretty easy, but I think this is much better. You can bolt it down, put some torque on it, and then you can get it out later. I'll go ahead and put the needle and springs and stuff in. Well, we have here's the old float, and I've got 2 springs here. This looks like the same one as what's on it, so I'm not even going to try to take it off. I'm just going to leave it on, and then it's got an extra little clip here that the old one didn't have, or it might have, I don't know, but I think it was just missing. So there's the old needle, and this little clip holds the needle onto that tab there on the float. So I'm just going to put that in, and it should drop right in. And this little spring clip here in the back, you got to push it down until it clicks and locks onto the seat. To me, that don't look like it. Well, anyway, there's a little adjustment rod here where you set the float level. That actually looks pretty good to me. All the way up is flat, and it's dropping down, so I'm pretty sure that the fuel level was right on it in the first place. I'll try to check it, but I'm sure that there's nothing wrong as it is. It's back together. I just set my idle screws at 2.5 turns. Everything seems to be working good. The accelerator pump feels a lot better than it did. I think that was probably most of the problem. It really wasn't working well. And so got a little baggie left of parts. One of these balls, I know that goes in the accelerator pump nozzles. I just used the old ball. I didn't realize there were new ones, but everything's all together, and I believe it's got a new base gasket here. That's what it looks like. Don't know if that's a carburetor gasket or a base gasket. Looks like it's probably a base gasket. So I'll replace that, put the carburetor on, hook up all the linkage and stuff, and it should run a lot better than it did. Well, it's all in, tightened down. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Put my new phone here. Try to get you a picture of it. Not really, put a wrench under it. Yeah, it'll probably take a few seconds for that fuel to get up there. Well, it just started and died, so not sure what caused that. I didn't have my choke hooked up. That might be probably part of the reason. Hopefully I didn't get that fuel level too high and it's flooding itself out. But the carburetor looks really good. I'm kind of amazed that cleaner worked as well as it did. A lot better. Nice and smooth. Still got a little smoke in it. I had to crank the idle up a little. Let it warm up and adjust those air screws. I think it's still running too rich. Let it warm up. Try to set it. Turned out 2.5 turns is way too much. I turned it in a full turn. Idle's still too high. Thermostat ought to be opening up. I redid my here's some should be able to. Yep, got warm air coming out of that. Idle's way too high. Set that down a little. Sounds like the accelerator pump's not working. smells much better too. Yep. Hear a little miss in this one, but it's just idling really nice. Can't cry about that at all. Motor got a lot quieter. Barely see a little bumping in it. The carburetor kit solved just about all of its running problems. Have to drive it to see. Well, this old rusty hood here, I just shot some of that Nexus epoxy primer up in there. I got it pretty good. My gun sort of starts giving up when I try to paint overhead, but at least it's not as terribly rusty and black. All this stuff here I can clean up pretty good and prime. Both sides, it won't be too bad. But I just wanted to get something up on there. You can see my paint streaks. The white primer's where I painted it with a spray can. But this is a pretty good epoxy. I didn't really prep it or anything. I just mostly just trying to get the color changed. And of course the back of the firewall could definitely use some primer. I think that'll probably be the next thing. It shouldn't be that hard to strip what's here out and prime that, and probably those hinges. I don't have a battery tray in here. Carburetor sure looks good though. Anyway, I'm going to try to make some kind of a plate there for the battery tray and get rid of that piece of wood. You guys coming to look at it, so I'm not trying to make it fancy or hide anything, but I mean, it's kind of bad having a piece of wood sticking out. At least I could put a piece of metal in it, and that'll help it a lot. Good enough.